Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time, this should have been a Dexploration for the new Phantom Knight support because I had no idea really what Phantom Knights was doing, but I kinda got ahead of myself and just went and did the thing, so I'm just gonna show you and talk about the new support. If you're interested in Phantom Knights, then maybe stick around and watch this one. If you hadn't seen, Phantom Knights just got a bunch of new support announced. This is a anime archetype from the Xyz era that has kind of shown up here or there with the occasional card because they have some good stuff in there, but it wasn't really coherent or modernized. That changes a lot with the new support. The new support's like incredible. And while maybe it's not enough to make it the best deck, it's definitely going to have a home, particularly in one of my favorite decks, probably my favorite Genesis deck right now, and has been since the inception of the format, 3-Axis. And so that's what I was building Phantom Knights to be, is an addition to the 3-Axis style of deck that I have played a bunch, and you've seen a bunch of on the channel. And so let's go over what we're actually working with here. So Phantom Knights are based around like banishing from graveyard for value. It's a pretty simple gimmick, but they are also like a rank up magic archetype. We have 3 separate rank up magics in archetype. So while it is a 3-axis kind of deck, you are using 4s and 5s as well as part of the engine, and we'll get to those. But, like, yeah, it's just banish stuff from graveyard to search value. We can recover cards from banishment to use them again, which is pretty cool. And we rank up into, like, destructions and all that sorts of fun stuff. So this is what I have figured out so far. Card by card, Decayed Cloak is one of our new cards, and if you have another Phantom Knights in hand, you can reveal it to special summon this. This archetype seems to lend itself to a pretty big package. I'm running 16 total cards in main for this build, and that seems okay. Like, you're normally seeing 2, which lets you use Decayed Cloak from hand without normal summoning, which is great because this is one of our starters now, because it lets you add another monster and you can banish it from grave to, and this is a really interesting, unique effect, make one of your Xyz monster count as a level monster for an Xyz summon this turn. So if you use a, let's say, Xyz Armored Torpedo, you detach both materials, you can banish our new guy Decayed Cloak from grave to make it a level 3 so that you can then go into another rank 3 with that torpedo. Very interesting effect that I'm sure is going to break something somewhere. Not necessarily in this deck, first glance. Our other new main deck monster is Doomed Solaret. That might be French, I don't know. I'm not sure on how to pronounce that word. But if you control no monsters, you can special summon this. Cool, awesome, free starter. And on summon, it lets you set a Phantom Knight spell trap from deck. It is a starter because Phantom Knights has some, oddly enough, some trap monsters, including our new Umbrage Veil, which if you have a Phantom Knights on field or in graveyard, you can activate it the turn it was set. Special summons as a level 3, and then you can change an attack position monster your opponent controls to defense position, not even face down. So that's not, like, amazing, but it does just turn Doom Solaret into a starter, because you set this, you activate it, then you've got 2/3s on board, you can go into stuff. You can also banish this from grave to immediately Xyz summon, which is a much more useful effect, but it has to be a dark monster, which is a little bit limiting, because the pool of dark 3s isn't amazing, but it's just a good effect to have on a piece that you need for the combo anyways. In the main, our last new card is a new rank up spell, and this one is like cracked out of its gourd. This is the Phantom Knights Rank Up Magic Requiem. Okay, so this one is kind of confusing as to how it actually works, so I'll do my best to explain. So first up, you target a Phantom Knights or Xyz Dragon monster in grave or banishment. Special summon that card, but negate its effects. Normally we're using that just to put a level 3 body on the board, because that part is completely disjointed from the next part. Keep that in mind. So we get a body out, then you can pick a Dark Xyz you control, and rank it up into a Phantom Knights or Xyz Dragon monster that is one rank higher. So you get a free body out, and then you can turn something into a higher rank Phantom Knights or Xyz Dragon. That's really good because what that does is it gets us the body to keep comboing while enabling us to use an old boss monster for the deck that was really hard to summon and is incredible but never really saw play because of how hard it was to summon. Namely, you're making Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. This was I think, the original anime. I haven't gotten that far in the anime. Xyz Dragon, and it kind of sucks, but it has a rank up version that was really hard to summon, Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon, that if it has the original OG Dark Rebellion as material, it gains some killer effects. The most important one here is a not once per turn detach material to negate, destroy a monster effect, then special summon an Xyz from grave. That's psychotic because we are putting, as part of the normal combo, 3 materials on this card, so that's 3 monster reborns that don't negate the effects, 3 negate and destroys. Crazy. So the point is that we make Dark Rebellion, search the Magic Requiem, rank it up into Dark Requiem, and then we've got this nasty ass boss monster on field. Really cool, and along the way we're actually putting together enough materials to make a Zexal as well, and that's just the Phantom Knights part of the deck, which, reminder, has 9 starters in a 16 card package, which is pretty good. The rest of these are like older cards, you can look them up if you want, but they're just like the ones that stand the test of time and are needed to make the new stuff go vroom. On top of that, we can play like some extra stuff. I'm playing one of the old Magic launch just in case we open any of these pieces, because the combo still works if you open any of these pieces, and this is just an extra searchable card that you can use, funny enough, to make Exosister Carmiel on the opponent's turn, which is effectively an Omni Negate with upside in this deck. It just, all we care about here is when the opponent activates an effect, detach all materials, the effect becomes add a card from the opponent, us, graveyard, back to their hand. So, like, it's an Omni Negate that gives us follow-up, which is really cool. That's really cool, y'all. So, yeah, that's kind of the gist of how the deck is working. I like the new support. I think it's pretty neat. The whole thing that makes it function is the Phantom Knights of Malevolent Scythe. This requires 2 level 3 dark monsters, so it's not super generic, but we can do it off of other starters, and you'll see that in the combos that have been playing throughout the video. But what this does is you can detach a material to special summon a Phantom Knights from deck, which is great. It's not even adding the hand, you just special summon it straight out. And then if you Xyz summon an Xyz Dragon, you can search or rank up magic. The point here is that we special summon, and from there we just need to put 2 4s together, which lets us slap them into a Dark Rebellion, which we can do in some weird funky ways. And then when we make the Dark Rebellion, the Malevolent Scythe sees that, goes to fetch Magic Requiem automatically, which turns the Dark Rebellion automatically into Dark Requiem while summoning out another body to do the rest of the combo. So this card really makes the whole thing tick. We aren't destroying it that often, but if it gets destroyed, you can add a Banished Phantom Knights card to your hand, which is cool, but we're normally then, after doing the whole Requiem thing, using it as material to make a Zexal. So it doesn't get destroyed, but one of the really cool things about that is that Requiem brings back Zexal when it negates, so even if the opponent like Lava Golems 2 Utopic Features Zexals, you're like, cool, negate your thing, bring it back, it's not negated, so I still have targeting protection. It's like psychotically good. But yeah, outside of that, we're playing 3-axis still. I'm playing the goblins. I'm playing a small Materiactor package. This is actually what bridges you from like the Typhoon engine or the Goblin Biker engine into the Phantom Knights, because Materiactor has Gigadra, which is a dark that can summon out Dark King of the Abyss from deck, which is another dark. So that's 2 darks you can put together to go into Malevolent Scythe. It's not elegant because I wish it was generic threes and not two level 3 dark monsters, but we can make it work. It makes it inelegant if we start with like the Radiant Typhoon engine, which used to be our best starter and in other builds of 3 axis is our best starter. Here it's our worst because they're not dark, so we have to jump through a bunch of hoops to get them to be dark. And in fact, our best starters are now the Phantom Knights cards, which we have 9 of. That said, I don't want to run just 9 starters. That's like asking to brick constantly. So we are still running the Typhoon package. You could run Terror Top in this spot, but honestly, Terror Top alone isn't full combo. It has to be Typhoon because Typhoon gets us 3 bodies. Again, it's inelegant, it's bricky, as you're probably seeing right about now with this last combo, but it works and I think it's still good. And what I've done with this build is instead of maxing out on Eldums because it's the worst starter in the deck, and instead of playing the Goblin Bikers Grand Entrance because we don't really care because we're not running the full armored package here, I just threw those points into a bunch of board breakers. So we got a bunch of we've got playset of Fuuloses, playset of Dark Holes, playset of Heavy Storms, which is pretty dang solid. And this is, I think, 18 starters, so we can afford to go a bit over 40 and still be fine. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Phantom Knights, show off some combos, show off the deck that I've been working on today. And you know, hopefully you guys are excited as I am, because I looked through these cards and was like, I knew Phantom Knights had some potential, but I'd looked at them before and they never just had a good starter. The only rank 3 they had was Breaksword. Breaksword is not a starter. I constantly looked at this card and was like, guys, please, I want one more engine that I can access off of 2 level 3s. Why is it not this one? And now it is. So, yeah, good support, does some crazy stuff, throw it in 3 axis like everything else nowadays. Hopefully you're excited for that in the way that I am. So that'll be it for this. Oh, last thing is that the sideboard here is just a bunch of other things that I thought might have been options. I don't think Ragged Gloves is that great. Breaksword would definitely see playing a fully Phantom Knights deck. I don't know if I want to play it here. Mistclaws is like almost playable, but not quite, I think. And then unfortunately, a lot of the new support specifies the Phantom Knights cards, which we have some cards that are Phantom Knights cards without the, and thus these are not searchable. So like Fogblade, you can only search off Silent Boots, and Silent Boots is like, it's a combo piece that we're using, so you're not really getting a chance to search like Fog Blades or Swords, which is unfortunate because I wouldn't mind being able to use these cards. And then also, because I was building with Genesis, we're not using Rusty Bardiche, which, like, goes crazy in this deck now. So if you're more interested in Advance, then, like, fit in a Rusty Bardiche and go ham on that. Same thing with, like, Raiders Knight. Raiders Knight is an incredible card, and I'm sure there are really good lines you can do with this card in Advanced. I'm not paying 80 for it in Genesis. But that'll be it for this one, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you're excited for the new Phantom Knight support, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.